significantly more than men need women. And it comes down to the most simple example I could think of. If all the men were deleted off the face of the planet tomorrow, all we would have is a bunch of women sitting around a table deciding what to eat for dinner. And the only progress that would be made would be, I don't know, whatever you want, I don't really care. And 4 suggestions would be thrown out, and they wouldn't be able to decide because they don't actually want anything. They just want someone to tell them what they want. And we're going to entrust them to make the important decisions in the world?
They scream sassy men apocalypse like it's a crisis. But the real shock is men finally talking back, setting standards, and refusing to play the silent provider while being criticized for breathing wrong.
And unfortunately, I get messages from women saying things like, it's 2026, we don't care about men, we don't care what men want. We hear a lot about toxic masculinity, but what isn't spoken about as much is toxic feminism and the damage that that's done. And this is a prime example of that in action, where we see women living sadly in somewhat of an echo chamber where there's so much resentment towards men. And it's not women's fault, by the way, it's not men's fault. It's society and the way we've been conditioned and how we're now kind of pitted against each other. And the fact that some women are being so triggered and so offended by what I'm saying, which to me isn't very controversial at all, actually. I understand why in this climate in society, why some people might perceive it as controversial, but ultimately I'm just trying to encourage people to have happy, fulfilling relationships with each other and with yourself. I think those people just need to pause and think about why they're being triggered by this. What narrative have women been fed to make them believe that greeting their partners nicely with a hug and a kiss when they're coming from work, for example, is oppression? There just seems to be so much anger towards men, and I get it. There are bad men out there, I know that. But there's a lot of really, really amazing, great men out there too. You don't have to live a life full of resentment and anger towards men and feeling the need to be hyper-independent, unhealthily independent in this constant struggle mode, this survival mode where your nervous system's completely out of whack. Appreciating the man in your life is not a weakness on your part. Hi, I'm Holly. I explore masculine and feminine dynamics in a way that you've probably not heard before. So if that's something you might be interested in, give me a follow.
We should call this, How Can I Make Myself Out to Be a Victim Today, while still maintaining the idea that I'm a strong, independent woman that doesn't need a man for anything, who probably lives in one of the most privileged countries in the entire world, but probably didn't have the common sense that it takes to actually ask any of those individuals sitting down, whether they be a man or a woman, if they would surrender their seats so someone else could sit down. Most likely because they were afraid that that person might actually ask them why they should be sitting down instead of them when they got to the seat first. I wonder if they would have been willing to answer that question.
Women aren't mad about sass. Their mad control is slipping because a man who doesn't. Fear losing you is a man you can emotionally manipulate.
I am sick and tired of sassy men. The "it's the way you act" guy is truly the worst thing that's ever happened to us, because now men think that that's peak comedy. They think that is what we're attracted to. They think that is what we want. It is not. It is so fucking annoying, because since when do we live in a society where men are just as emotional as girls are? Why are you blocking me mid-conversation? Oh my god, it's the way you act. It's the way you act does not fucking fly with me. Put the fingers down. I'm tired. Sassy men are not cute. It is not attractive. Where can I find myself an ogre-looking Shrek? Stand up!
What they call sassy is really men refusing to tolerate disrespect with a smile, and the discomfort comes from realizing compliance is no longer guaranteed.
My favorite thing to say is that we're in a sassy man apocalypse. I was having a conversation with a guy today and we were talking about the sassy man apocalypse. He brought it up and he was like, women love to say that we're in a sassy man apocalypse. And I'm like, because we literally are. These men have attitudes. A lot of them are walking around like they're the prize. He raised a few points to which I will say 2 things. If I am the prize and I choose my man and my man chooses me, he is also the prize. I'm also winning. We're both winning. If I pick him, the man that I choose, he's gonna be the prize in the sense that he's the man that I want. He's the provider. He's my protector. He makes me feel secure. He makes me feel safe. He's all these things that I want in a guy. That also makes him the prize. Don't get me wrong. I'm also the prize, and I'm providing whatever it is that he wants. I think it's important that we remember that relationships are two-way streets, and just as much as you expect from somebody else, you have to be just as good of a partner to that person. I think that we lose that in translation a lot when we are speaking about like female empowerment and everything like that. I'm really fucking greasy. I don't know what. Me and my friend both agreed on the fact that women are really out of their feminine now. And that's because we've been forced to be. We kind of put ourselves in the same playing field as men in the sense we're like, we want to be just as successful. We want to make just as much money. We're more than just a pretty face. We are independent. Unfortunately, it's put a lot of us in our masculine for just day to day, not even just business things, just in our relationships too. We approach dating in our masculine. We've become less soft. And I've seen that to be true for myself. I have to constantly remind myself to be in my feminine and to almost be a little bit submissive, to release control and to trust somebody and to be more vulnerable and open. That is definitely not easy, especially today where we have a lot of hyper masculine men, a lot of men who are triggering us. We are also triggering a lot of men by being like too like in their face. We're not taking shit from any men because we approach dating sometimes in our masculine, and then you have a guy who's already in his masculine. We have two masculines in a heterosexual situation happening. Now we're like butting heads with each other because the females in the masculine, the males in the masculine, maybe even in this hyper masculine. And then he's like, shit, well, what do I do? Should I flip into my feminine? And now he's sassy. So I think as important as it is to remember that guys should be putting us in our feminine, we also need to allow the space for men to be in their masculine. Dating is so crazy now. Dating is so hard now.
Men didn't change overnight, they just stopped being agreeable at their own expense. And now the same confidence women say they want feels threatening when it's directed back at them.
The men are so unserious. So I talked to my friend last night, and I was asking her about this guy that she had told me that she had met on a dating app. That's where they're the most unserious. Asking her how it was going, and the story goes like this. She met this guy on a dating app. They had talked on and off the app for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks before he asked her on a date. They were going to some restaurant. I don't remember the restaurant. And about an hour before they were supposed to meet at the restaurant, he texts her and tells her, make sure she gets snacks so she don't bring too much of her appetite because he didn't intend on buying both of them full meals. Now, I wouldn't have went on the date. That would have been it for me. You can go alone. But that's just me. She continues to talk to the guy even after the date. She said the conversation was okay, but she continues to talk to him. About 2 weeks go by and his birthday weekend is coming up. And so he had been subtly hinting that he wanted to spend some of his birthday with her. So she hesitantly, she said she really wasn't feeling doing nothing with him for his birthday because they haven't been talking that long. And, you know, the first date, which was very off-putting. But she tells him that she can meet him at Firebirds for Saturday lunch and they can celebrate his birthday then. He agrees. She gets to Firebirds on that Saturday and she's sitting at the bar waiting for him and he comes in and she said he seemed like he got like a little slight attitude. So as soon as he get there, you know, she's like energetic, like, oh, it's your birthday, happy birthday. She gets him a birthday shot. And she said, you know, maybe like 15 minutes or so go by, like the birthday shot didn't kick in. He seemed like he's loosening up a little bit. So she asked him, like, you know, it's your birthday. Like, you don't really seem that excited. Like, you don't really seem like you're in a birthday mood. Like, are you good? And so he tells her that he didn't know if he really even wanted to come meet her because he doesn't understand why she didn't pick. Now, in this, where the Firebirds restaurant is, it's at a mall. So it's a lot of restaurants around. He doesn't know why she didn't pick somewhere nicer, like P.F. Chang's or Capitol Grill is in that same plaza, and down the street is Fleming's. And so he mentions, like, you know, you went with your coworkers last week for one of their birthdays to Fleming's. I don't know why you wouldn't take me to Fleming's on my birthday instead of Firebirds. Come again? I forgot to mention that part of the reason that he knew that she had gone to Fleming's the week before for her coworker's birthday is because she met him after that dinner at a bar. He invited her out for a drink. So she says she goes and meets him at the bar. They're sitting there having a drink. The bartender asks if she wants another drink, and she says yes. He turns to her and says, oh, well, I only invited you out for a drink, so if you get a second drink or anything after that, it's on you. Okay. Now, this is where I told her she messed up, because after that, why would you be doing anything for this man for his birthday? Girl, I guess. He also says, and then you text me this morning to tell me happy birthday, and I told you I was on my way to get my haircut, and you didn't even offer to pay for my haircut for my birthday. Sis. And I'm talking to you, young man. Y'all, the sassy men apocalypse continues.
You can't demand emotionally intelligent men and then panic when those same men articulate boundaries clearly and unapologetically.
I've talked before on here about how the sassy man apocalypse is just straight men of all different kinds realizing that their emotions matter and realizing that they also deserve to be pampered a little bit. They also want that. I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about how all the women who complain about the sassy man apocalypse, they're all misogynistic and homophobic. Let's be real. They're talking about, like, all these men wanting things from themselves, voicing their opinions, voicing their emotions as being, like, more feminine is what I'm seeing. Like, they're saying, like, oh, these men don't want a girlfriend, they want a boyfriend. And, like, what in the patriarchy is that? You're just trying to reestablish those gender roles that we're all tired of, that we all suffer under. All because a man wants to be pampered every now and then. All because a man's in tune with his emotions. Grow up!
The nice guy complex is like the most scared I'll ever be of a man. I'm also not talking about the guys that just like mention they're a nice guy in passing, like, hey, I'm a nice guy. I'm talking about the guys who make it their entire personality. I'm talking about nice guys finish last. I'm a nice guy. I'd pay for your dinner. I'll hold the door for you. I'm a nice guy. The reason I say these men are the ones to fear is because they literally don't think that they do anything wrong in the world. Like, they are so convinced that they are a nice guy that any of their poor behavior they see from a perspective of delusion. Like, I couldn't have possibly done anything wrong. You're the problem because I'm a nice guy. They cannot perceive that they've done anything wrong. And that is fucking terrifying. Terrifying. In this climate? Are you kidding me? But a man who is convinced that his niceness deserves a payment in return? Jail. Jail. Because, like, this kind of trauma comes from a completely different, like, region of the brain, right? Because we all know that behavior is rooted in childhood trauma and past experiences. But, like, the nice guy complex is coming from a much darker place, in my opinion. I dated a nice guy once in high school, actually. And he was, like, the first kind of guy that I dated that was completely different from style-wise from every other guy I dated. Like, he was in band. I dated guys on dirt bikes wheeling in the middle of the road. A guy in band was not necessarily in my bracket, you know what I'm saying? So we start dating, and basically he starts getting like really touchy-feely, really hands-on, super early into the relationship. And like, we're in high school. Like, I was like, hey, like, if you want to do that, I get it. Like, we're dating, but it's gonna be a little bit. It's not gonna be right away. He ended up telling me that he sees no reason in continuing this relationship because he wanted to hook up with me and lose his virginity. That's the only reason that he dated me. And then he apologized. He said, I'm so sorry, but that's just the way it is. I don't see a point in us dating other than that. But hey, at least I was honest with you. Like, you know, I'm a nice guy. I want to be honest with you. Fuck. Because being gay is not a choice, but if it was, I would choose it every time. Happy Monday, everyone.
It's not an apocalypse. It's retaliation. Years of being told to do better created men who finally did, and now they expect better in return.
Apparently I'm a lesbian because every single guy that I'm with seems to forget that there's supposed to be a man in the relationship. So instead, I'm just stuck with two women, me and him.
When men stop chasing validation and start calculating value, dating stops being romantic and starts being strategic. And that shift is what's rattling people.
Sassy man apocalypse. Sassy men are so up right now. We've been up. We've been expressing our feelings. We never cared. I just want to push it even further. I'm just here to push it even further. Just push it even further. I want to take this to the moon. I want to take this to the stars.
This isn't men becoming feminine, it's men becoming selective. And nothing shakes the system more than men who don't need approval to feel powerful. That's all for today. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to press the notification bell so you get the latest updates from our channel.